Hello, Joseph. You don't know me, but I do know you. I want to play a game. We have until October 31st to produce a short animated Halloween film. We don't have much time. You better hurry before time runs out.
Alright, Joseph, I have an idea. It is October, and I do think it would be a shame if we didn't put out an animated short film for October. I was pondering how can we accomplish this with such little time left in the month. I have an old short that I created as a junior in college. It's called Harold the Talking Head. He's just a head, he's a comedian, he's in a jar, he's with the traveling circus. Quite frankly, I created the project because I wanted to learn more about facial rigging. I thought no better way to focus on facial rigging than to cut off the head, leave the body in a ditch somewhere, and put them in a jar. So it's a little bit of a challenge I'm proposing here, but what if we took that Harold the Talking Head short and really plussed what we had, make it look better? Let me know what you think, and maybe we get this thing started.
All right, Christopher, I just got your challenge, and I've got to say, I'm pretty excited about this one. I remember when you showed us this as a student project, and then I was like, wow, I can't believe he put all this together. But I've got to agree with you. Looking at it with a little bit of hindsight and a little bit more context of where we're at today, and I think that there's more that we can do. So the first thing I'm thinking is we got to fill this set out a little bit. The ground is just a flat plane with some texture. I think we can enhance that. So I'm going to add some more texture. I'm actually going to deform the geometry. And then I'm going to use Blender's geometry nodes to scatter grass all over the place. Next, I think we can do some props. So I just got a brand new plugin that'll let us throw up some trees. I can model the pumpkins pretty quickly. My approach is going to be to start with a generic circle, turn it into a pumpkin shape that is symmetrical in all dimensions, get that UV'd, get that textured, and then duplicate it and do some deformation so that we can get some different shapes out of these pumpkins. The other thing I'm going to do with the pumpkins is I can set up the shader to take in a parameter so that we can actually tweak and get different colors of pumpkins. Now, the other thing that I noticed is you have sort of the sine wave animation on the flag at the top. I think we can do a real cloth sim, and even though that's not the focal point of the shot, I think it'll add just that extra bit of realism and motion that'll help bring the scene to life. Now, last but not least, I think we need fog on the bottom, something wavy and mysterious. I'm not a pro when it comes to doing this type of stuff, but I know how to do a basic simulation in Houdini, and so I'm gonna throw something together and just see what we get.
I love all those ideas. I am not a fan of your sine wave slander. The sine wave deformer is one of the best deformers. I'll allow you to take it off if you're going to do a real cloth simulation, but you can mark my words, I will find a way to put a sine wave back into the scene one way or another. It will come back.
Hey, goose it, boys! Your cops! It will happen again!
For my side, I do have a quick small update. Before, the tent's ropes were literally just cylinders that had the most basic Lambert texture applied to them. I went ahead and modeled little posts to come out of the tent and actually a model of a rope to wrap around the posts. It's not a whole lot, but I do think it helps the environment a little bit, plussing what is already there. I also went ahead and modeled a crushed soda can. The audience needs something to toss at Harold when his joke bombs. I was thinking about tomatoes, but with the time that we have, I don't know if there's a whole lot of options to figure out a tomato splatter when it hits the environment. Lastly here, I'm going to start working on figuring out how to rig the guillotine. That's one of the biggest props that I think needs to be able to work. Originally, I wanted the guillotine blade to drop from the top, and when it hits the ground, the light's cut, his stand-up bit is over. Right now, it's just stagnant. There's not rope that can drop. So I'll start working on that. In the meantime, I'll send you the updates that I have. see if we can get those in the scene and go from there.
So quick update, I finished the geometry node setup for the grass and for the roughness of the ground, and I think it's looking great. The one problem is we have way too much geometry now in the scene. So I think what I'm going to do is start introducing vertex and weight painting so that we can actually choose where the grass shows up, so it's always just within the view of the camera. I have an update too on the Houdini side. The fog looks fine, it's a very basic setup. The downside is this has to be baked to a VDB so that we can actually render it in Blender. The reason why that's a problem is baked VDBs are huge, and so this one is like a half a terabyte. So this shot better work because my computer's full at this point. All right, back to you.
While you were messing around with something called an RNB simulation and half a pterodactyl bite, I figured out where I'm going to put the sine wave. I warned you, the sine wave will make a comeback.
It will happen again!
You can't just get rid of the sine wave. The sine wave is always there. So with the sine wave, what I decided to do is with the guillotine rope, I didn't want to have to rig a bunch of joints up the rope, for this is something that's only going to be seen for a moment on screen. So I figured there's really no better place to put a sine wave than on the rope so we can get some movement on it. The animation for Harold and the cans being thrown at him are virtually complete. On top of that, I went ahead and I decided I'd like to try to model a Ferris wheel we can put in the background of the introduction shot. I quickly realized I didn't have a lot of time to model this Ferris wheel, so it's kind of a low-res model. Just don't look too closely at it. It's not very good. I'm going to get that over to you right now so you can get started on finishing the final touches of that outdoor scene, and we'll go from there.
Update on the render side. I've got your assets in and I love what you did with the tent. I also love the Ferris wheel asset. I know that you said that not a lot of detail went into it, but I think it really helps sell that background of the scene. We're gonna have a problem though. I go out of town in a week and I just did the math on this render and it's going to take 6.5 days to render. My guess is that it's because of the fog, and it's when the light rays pass through the fog, it really just amplifies the render time. So I'm actually going to mess with some settings in Blender and see if we can reduce the amount of times that the light bounces when it hits the fog. My hope is that we can get a really noise-free shot and get it while, you know, I'm still here to send you the render at the end.
Alright, I just finished the final product. The renders for the inside shots with Harold were taking a very long time. Incrementally, I would go in and lower the render quality as to try to make sure we would reach the deadline. And I'm glad I did so because it is October 31st right now. So I'm going to send that over to you now. Let me know what you think.
All right, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what you actually put together with this whole thing.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing better than me. Listen, me and my girl just broke up. I got no body. I got no shoulder to cry on, huh? Come on. Hey, wait, where you guys go? Hey, come back, hey. I got an hour booked. I got more jokes off the top of my head. Come on.
That worked! I think it came out really good. I don't know if it quite met your vision exactly the way that we ended up putting together, but I'm pretty proud of it. So since for the month of October we did your challenge, I've got something in mind for next month, but let's not spoil this video. We'll save that for next time.